Yeah, it's recording. So, hi, and welcome everyone to this new episode of the Digital Nomad Mum Podcast. This show is all about the digital nomad lifestyle coupled with family topics. We'll also cover other lifestyle optimization strategies for good measure. Follow these tips and tactics to design a life with more freedom, excitement, and greater joy. Subscribe here for interviews with digital nomad families, entrepreneurs who might still be contemplating to have their own family one day, families who are on a gap year, and many more. Today, we are joined by Chanel Morales. I hope I pronounced this correctly. Hi, Chanel. Thanks for taking your time and being on the show with me. Very excited. And before I bubble more, I hand over to you, Chanel, and let you introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Chanel Morales. I'm a full-time digital nomad. I've been traveling the world for the last 2 years with my now 11-year-old daughter. I am an online business coach, so I help other women to launch online businesses with my coaching program, The Dream Club. I also have a Facebook group called Digital Nomad Mums. So it was really interesting that we both have the same name, but with the mom and the mum. And yeah, so I'm just really excited to share with you today about my journey and everything that brought me to create this lifestyle, because I would love to see more women, especially single mums, realize that they can do things like this and that they do have the power to change their life or live the dreams they want to live.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just recently joined your Facebook group, and I saw you and all your work that you're doing. It's really inspiring, and I totally agree on this with you. Like, so many women out there are wondering if it's possible, or even if they're not single, but with their partners, it might seem like a lot, and sometimes it is. I mean, it is a challenging lifestyle, but it's so rewarding as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, tell us a little bit about how you transitioned from a normal life to this digital nomad lifestyle.
Yeah, so I mean, I had my daughter when I was quite young. I was 19 when I had my daughter. And so when I went back to university when I was about 21, 22, so I didn't graduate until I was 25 and get my first full-time job. So when everyone else was kind of like working in these 9 to 5s, I didn't really have any concept of what that was like. And I thought, yeah, I'll get a job and life will be amazing and I'll earn money. And then I got my first job and I was like, what the hell is this? What is this? Sitting in one place all day, looking at the clock, people telling you what to do. And I was just not into it at all. So because I'd been a student, and when you're a student, you kind of go in when you want, and if you don't go in, if your kid's sick, you can just stay off. It's just like, obvious, you don't have to worry about it. But when you get a job, you can't just leave work because your kid's ill, or being a single mum, it was really hard to find that balance of like, what do you do when your kids are ill, what do you do when you have to work weekends or late nights and all this kind of stuff. And even just the general having to be everything, be the person who keeps the perfect house, cooks the food, does the washing, does the shopping, and the person that does the work, earns the money, and just having to do everything. I found it really, really difficult to balance. So almost immediately into working in my first job, I started researching online, how can I get away from this, basically? How can I work from home? And I went down like the black hole of Google of like, all these pyramids, all these like drag and drop systems that you have to buy them, and then you copy and paste it. And I tried so many different things. I looked into affiliate marketing and all kinds of stuff. And then eventually I was working in a marketing job at the time, and it should have seemed really obvious really to me that what I should have done, but it took me ages trying to find all these other options to realize that that's probably just the best thing for me to do. So I started freelancing, and then I got made redundant, and then in the same month I got made redundant, me and my boyfriend of 3 years broke up. Yeah. And I was just in a really sort of dark place with the end of the relationship more than anything. I wasn't really bothered about being made redundant. I was quite happy about that. But when the relationship broke down, every woman's been through that. I mean, I'm sure men as well, when you go through a breakup in a relationship with someone that you really loved, and you just need something to change in your life to just throw you out of this like dark place. And I just went to this business networking event called Biz Mums, and everyone was talking about manifestation and dream boards and what do you really want in life. And I just had this idea, I really want to travel. I've always traveled from a very young age. I used to live in Australia. I've got family in Peru and America and South America and Central America and stuff. So I've always traveled, and I was just like, I want to travel the world with my daughter. So I went home and created this vision board, and I gave myself 5 years to make it happen. I thought it's going to take me ages to save the money. Like, it's not possible for a single mum. And then because it was there and I was looking at it every day, I started Googling stuff, and I discovered Workaway and house sitting and Skyscanner, super cheap flights on Skyscanner, how you find them. And I just discovered all these hacks basically of how I could do it really soon. Like, I didn't have to wait 5 years. So I decided to just book a one-way flight. I found a flight on Skyscanner that was £150 to the US.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, that's crazy cheap. So I literally just booked the one-way ticket. I had no money. It was for 6 months on, but even so, my business was so in the early stages, I didn't really have consistent income. I started selling my stuff. I got rid of my house. I sold my car. And then the day we left, I had £300 in my bank account.
Wow.
And we just went.
Okay.
Yeah, we just went.
Okay, well, that's an amazing story, and a rocky start, or I mean, a start with uncertainty. But this is usually how, I mean, it's not that I've heard millions of stories like this, but usually when you hear success stories, they always start like this, where people are really pushed to their limits and they realize, I have to make it happen. If not, you don't want to be stuck in that old life. So I think this is the biggest and the best motivator if you want to really change something, because you're like this, you can go on with your own life. Then people do things that
I
they
think
never realized before. Yeah.
One of the biggest blocks to change is happy. They're just comfortable. They don't do anything. They don't do anything to change their situation. That's a big problem for many, many people. They're too comfortable in their life, even though it's not fulfilling them. Yeah. So I think getting really uncomfortable, getting that fire under you, that's the best way if you really want to make a big change.
Absolutely. And how then were the first 6 months? I mean, did you end up traveling and work away through the US, or what did you do?
Yeah, so we actually did a couple of weeks in Spain before we went to America, and we did work away there. We had a really bad experience our first work away. The lady just had really unusual ideas about things, and like, so we ended up leaving after 6 days, but then we went to another one and it was amazing, like the loveliest Spanish family. So we've had really great experiences with workaway. In the US, I was working online, so even though I had £300 in my bank account, I was earning as I went. So I was literally like, I had the money for a few nights, and then I'd get paid by one client, and then I'd book another few nights and then get paid by another client. So it gave me a lot of anxiety as I was traveling. And it was around about that time. Yeah, it was a couple of months after that, when we got to like Texas and LA, that I had the idea that I wanted to launch a marketing agency rather than be the person doing all the work and trying to do the marketing, because it was too much to do both. So I decided to launch my agency at that time, which meant that I got a team of freelancers who I would outsource the work to, so I didn't have to actually do everything, and I could offer bigger packages like Facebook ads and stuff. So that was the next step for me, really, in like growing my business so that I'd have a bit more financial security. And then around about the same time as that, I was posting about my travels in like travel family groups and stuff, and lots of women started asking me like, how are you doing this? Like, I've told them I've got no money, like I've got no savings, I literally had just what I had in my bank account that day, and they were just like, how is that possible? So a lot of people were sending me messages, and I realized I can't really respond to this via like a DM. And that's when I created my 12-step program, which became my coaching program, the Dream Club, and started helping other women to do this, like helping them launch online businesses, teaching them marketing, teaching them sales, and all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, it was an interesting few months, but I feel like if that hadn't have happened, if I'd have just waited till I was ready, if I'd waited till I had all the money, like the experience would have been completely different. And we wouldn't have met all these amazing families, because we stayed with a whole bunch of people in the US from world schooling groups, because I posted in these groups like I'm traveling with my daughter, and loads of people were like, come and stay with us. So we got to stay with families, we got to do workaways. And it's really different way of traveling than doing hotels and resorts and Airbnbs, where you don't meet as many people, because that's what I do now because I can afford it now, but you don't meet the people, you know. So it's a really different way of traveling, and I'm so glad we did that first.
Yeah, that would be one of my questions actually to you. How do you, what does community mean to you while you're out there and traveling, especially with your daughter?
Yeah, well, to be honest, when I left, I didn't really think about it. I'm not a planner. I'm not one of these people that researches everything in detail. I'm just like, I want to go book a flight, and I just left. Basically, that was how it went for me. I don't research destinations. I just fly there, and then I get there and I go, what's around? So one of my biggest actual regrets is for the first year is not thinking enough about going to places slow travel, because I'd never even heard of that, and also giving my daughter more time to integrate and make friends for longer periods of time. So she did struggle with that, not having friends. I mean, like, we stayed with a lot of families, but like we'll be there for like 5 days, and then we go to the next place, or 2 weeks, and then the next place. So she didn't have enough time to really make those connections. So that's definitely a massive lesson that I learned from the first year of traveling, is that, you know, take it a bit slower. So if anyone is thinking about doing the nomad life, I would definitely say do 2 or 3 months in each place, rather than, we were literally doing like 3 days in Boston, 4 days in New York. Like, it was crazy. We were just traveling so fast, and I didn't realize how exhausting and draining it would be either.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think this is an experience everyone has to go through by themselves. I remember in my first year, I did the same. I was running around the world rather than traveling. It was like, at the end, I thought, okay, no, now I'm more stressed out than after quitting my job. And
yeah, it's just exhausting. Like, I just need to sleep for like a good few days after I've traveled anywhere. So if you're doing it every few days, it just ends up exhausting you.
Absolutely. I remember times when I literally would lay in my hostel bedroom and I said, no, I don't care about this Machu Picchu out there or the Bolivian West Road. I'm not going today. I'm just sitting here and have my computer in front of me and I'm watching movies. I'm not doing anything else.
Yes.
It was exhausting.
This is a big thing that, like, I got so much guilt around this. I'd be like in Hawaii or something, and then I'd be like, I just want to stay in bed and watch Netflix, and I'd feel this like overwhelming guilt, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like, why are you feeling guilty? Because you just want to relax.
Exactly.
It's like we feel like we have to make the most of every moment, don't we? We feel like we've got to always be doing stuff, and it's like, yeah, I'm having a real do nothing week this week. I'm seriously not doing anything. I'm watching Netflix all week.
And you can do it because you know your lifestyle, or this travel thing has now turned into your lifestyle, as opposed to people who take a gap year or who are on vacation. They, of course, they want to fit in as much as possible. But as soon as you realize, hey, this is not my life, I can slow down, I can relax, and now I can take my time. And yes, of course, we all need some days where we have simply a day off, even from traveling. So yeah,
exactly
how everyone goes through this. Cool.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about how has COVID-19 affected your life, yeah, and your life, like traveling. You're stuck in Turkey, you just said, or yeah.
No, I was in England from March, so I was in lockdown in the UK. Me and my daughter had actually gone back there with the intention of moving back and settling back down, and I did 5 months of lockdown, and I was like, there is no way in hell I can stay here. Like, I was climbing the walls, I was going crazy. But she really wants to be in one place, so she's now living with her dad in Germany, on a trial kind of basis. We're just kind of seeing how it goes, because he moved there about 4 years ago, and he asked, you know, if he could have her at some point, and then she wanted to settle, and I didn't really want to, so I was like, maybe this is a good time for her to do that. So she's going to be starting school there, which is super cool, and she's already picking up German, which I'm really excited about, because learning another language is like so amazing. I just wish I'd been able to do that when I was a kid. So that's the biggest change that's happened in my life, really. I'm now technically a solo traveler. I'm not a mum traveler right now. So I go back to Berlin every month for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Berlin's becoming like a big part of my life as well. So yeah, I'll be there every month for around about a week. And I'm currently in Turkey. I went to Albania as well last month. So I'm still traveling to the countries that are open in Europe, which is nice and close to her. And I do intend on going to Georgia next, and that's going to be my long-term base. Okay. I've decided to make that my base. So I'm going to still travel, but have that as like my home, which will be nice because I've not had a home for like 2.5 years, which hasn't bothered me at all. But after a bit of time, I'm quite excited actually to have like somewhere to put all my stuff and not have to carry everything with me everywhere, and being able to just maybe pack a hand luggage and just like go on a little weekend away somewhere with just a little hand luggage suitcase. That would be nice rather than the huge one that I'm lugging around now.
Yeah, that's so, that is so such an improvement. I remember in January when we flew to Thailand, I said, no, we're only flying hand luggage, and we were only meant to stay for 2 months and then go through Europe to attend a few conferences. And then COVID-19 happened, and we're here stuck in Thailand ever since, and on hand luggage. Of course,
oh my gosh,
we have bought a few more.
Still in Thailand?
Yes, we are. Yeah, and it's the best.
I was in Thailand in January. Whereabouts are you?
Well, in January we went actually to the Nomad Summit in Chiang Mai, and that's where I spoke at the conference. And then we flew down to Koh Phangan, to one of the islands next to Koh Samui in the south, and that's where we still are. Yes, we fell in love with the island, with the lifestyle, and we had several flights booked to Germany. Some got cancelled, some we decided to postpone, and the visa amnesty was just always falling into our lap. So we were like, okay, if Thailand allows us to stay, why would we leave? No, I mean, Europe is just, I don't know. I don't like the cold. And now with the uncertainty of a second wave, we said, let's hang out here for a little while until at least it's possible legally. And then we'll see. So for now, we're here.
Yeah.
But this could happen when you start your travel.
Yeah, well, I really want to go to Bali. That's really high on my list, and obviously it's closed still, so that's disappointing.
Of course. I think you have to wait until Indonesia opens up for a little while, but who knows? I mean, 2020 is so crazy. No one knows what's happening, and absolutely.
I wonder what 2021 has in store for us.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Fingers crossed, something good. Amazing. So if someone is new to this lifestyle or even hasn't started out, what tip would you give him or her, your best 3 tips of how to start and what to take care of first?
So I mean, I'm a business coach, so obviously my first tip is start an online business. And I mentioned my free Facebook group. I mentioned it. There's loads of tips in there and stuff you can find about online business and the best kinds of online business and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to travel long term, you need an income. Online jobs, I find, tie you down to hours, which means you're still kind of stuck. So creating something scalable that you can run and automate and outsource stuff and can grow with you, and you can have more time, more money long term is my number one goal and tip. And then I would say, don't think about it too much. Like, don't plan too much. Don't worry too much. Just like, if you want to do it, just book a flight. Like, just book a flight, walk to the airport, get on the plane, get the rest out. The rest out as you go. And also check out Facebook groups and post in Facebook groups for the places you're visiting, or world schooling groups, single mum travel groups, traveling family groups, and find out where people are and if you can make connections along the way and meet people and stay with people and stuff like that. That's another awesome way to enjoy your travels as you go.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you on this one. And maybe as a last question, tell us a little bit about your recent project. You posted it on Facebook, and maybe some of the listeners already know about it, but maybe some don't. So your best-selling book. This is an
Yeah.
nice title. You're about to write a book. So what it's about?
Yeah, so I am creating my first multi-author book. So it's going to feature myself and other people. I'm still looking for contributors at the moment. So I only just announced it like a couple of days ago. So it's called Dreamers and Changemakers. And it's all about the people in the world and our stories of wanting to change the world, make it a better place, basically, and the shift in consciousness that's happening at the moment in so many areas. People are waking up and realizing, in a spiritual way, in education, in politics, in the environment, parenting, like there's so many things that we're realizing maybe we haven't got right in the past, and things need to be changing rather than sticking with these archaic or the way it's always been done. So if you're the kind of person where you feel like you see things differently, or you feel like something's not right about a certain thing that you've lived through or that you know about, then basically I'm looking for people who want to write a chapter and be part of this movement of helping wake up the world to changes that need to happen.
Okay, super cool. Yeah, we leave the links below, and of course, reach out to Chanel if you're interested, and leave a comment below if that's something you want to contribute. And I might even send you a message later after this interview. I just got an idea.
Yay! Awesome.
But yeah, thanks so much, Chanel. This was very inspiring. It's an awesome story. Those stories we need to hear more often about. And this is why I created this podcast, because I want to let other people know, especially moms and families out there, that it is possible. Just follow your gut feeling and purchase or chase your dreams, because this is what life is all about. And then you see what can happen. This is amazing. So thanks so much for being on the show and taking the time, Chanel, and thanks everyone for listening. If they want to reach you, the listeners, where is best to reach you? I think you already mentioned your Facebook group, but anywhere else they can reach you?
So probably, my free Facebook group, Digital Nomad Mums. I'm also on all social as Mum Biz Travel, so Instagram and Facebook. You can find my page using that handle.
Cool stuff. Okay, cool. Thank you so much again. Have a wonderful weekend ahead, and tune in for the next episode, which is coming up soon. And I hope you had fun. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye, Chanel.
Bye.